Let's start with your journey. How did you discover about the existence of angels in your life? And where did your journey start from?
To dive directly into my first ever conscious angelic experience. I have mentioned it in my book as well. I had just learned driving, and I was driving on Mumbai roads in the midnight with my friends, where we decided to go for a midnight snack. And suddenly, when I was coming back, we realized that we were on a service road, and there was this huge boulder right in front of us. In the and I was driving at 60 kmph. Now you really can't slow down. And Bombay, to get free roads in the night itself is a delight. So
Hmm.
we're nicely speeding and having a good time. Suddenly, all I could do was move my car over the boulder. I had no other option. I'd just learned driving, so I didn't know a lot of things that I could maneuver. I was like, all I can do is I started chanting. I started chanting name of a master who I truly believe in, who's got me in this entire journey of spirituality. So I started chanting, but of course, when you're really young, there's this bravado on your face. Oh, nothing is going to go wrong, and the last thing you're going to talk about is God and angels that time. So I just had to show everybody, don't worry, everything's under control. But in the deepest of my heart, I was extremely anxious, extremely nervous and scared because there were lives around me and there was this huge responsibility, that if something happens to them, what am I going to do? So I started chanting. I dropped them off. We called a few of our friends. So as we moved the car ahead, there was a huge dent in the car. The chassis was bent. Okay. It was a low ground clearance car. So there were a lot of challenges with the car as well. And we could see the dents and there was certain leakage in certain places and there was a hazard symbol. We called some of our friends, but there was no one to help us out. So I dropped them off and I started to journey back home. And this was another time where I was alone. And in India, especially, we are so used to talking about angels and demons and ghosts when we are young. And so even whether you believe it or not, but these are the moments where a certain set of fear starts grappling with one person. And this was dark night for me. So for me, for sure, it was I was like, oh my God, now I'm going to encounter some ghost on the way. And I really don't know what is going to happen to me. I was really scared and scared to next level. So I started chanting religiously saying, save me, save me, save me. And suddenly, as I was driving past the road, I felt a presence next to me in the co-driver's seat from the corner of my eye. And I was like, um, what is this happening to me? And the first thought I had, I'm sure you know that in India, you grow up with a lot of Bollywood movies. And especially when you're dying, you see God and your entire life flashes before you. This is the kind of stories we grew up with. At least I did. So I was like, oh my God, I'm seeing a master or a saint next to me. I am for sure dying right now. This car is going to blast and I am done, because an average human being cannot experience masters and angels. That is for a special category of people, which was my belief system until that particular day, of course. And so on the corner of my eye, I see my master whom I'm chanting, and I'm like, okay, you are here, but I'm really scared. I'm not supposed to experience you, you know? And then from the rear view mirror, yeah, I can see how you're breathing out right now. It is an overwhelming moment.
Goosebumps. Yeah,
Yes.
that's totally goosebumps.
And I was like, no, you're not supposed to be here, go, I'm scared. I mean, I'm calling you, but I'm scared to see you in person. And then from my rear view mirror, I can see someone right behind me in a beautiful light image. And I was like, oh my God, there are two of them. I am definitely dying.
Yeah.
But that is when the whole transitioning moment happened. I saw something fly in front of me and I started to feel a deep sense of peace. Even now, when I'm talking, I can feel it in my heart, in my body. There was this amazing sense of tranquility and calm that just enveloped me beautifully. And then I reached home and I thought, oh, I've met a friendly ghost called as Casper. You remember the movie Casper?
Yeah,
Friendly
I do.
ghost. Oh my God, I met a friendly ghost. And then there was really, I'm not exaggerating, Ashuta, but there was no looking back. I didn't know what I had experienced, but I knew I'd experienced something magical. I did see a master around me. I thought if I'm going to, in my early 20s, if I'm going to tell my friends, I'll probably be put to a doctor saying, she's hallucinating and this is not a normal behavior. What was interesting was post that I started to find articles which only spoke about angels. And that's when I realized that in that most critical emergency moment of my life, I met my angels. Okay. How do I know it was not a figment of my imagination? I was questioning this. Next morning, I did call a mechanic to fix my car, right? And he did come down and he did check my car. Um, and he called me again. He says, "What's wrong?" I said, there's a dent, there's a chassis which is bent, and there's a leakage, and there's a hazard symbol." And he called me after half an hour after a thorough checkup, and he says, "There is nothing wrong with your car."
Wow.
This was my turning moment because I knew I had four witnesses. I knew there was a damage, and suddenly there was nothing wrong with my car. It was just fixed, you know. It's very surreal, I do understand, but because it's my personal experience, for me, from a logical left brain person, everything shifted saying, "Oh my God, this is just phenomenal." And then I started asking for signs, totally. And you can ask me questions around that, and I can probably talk a little bit more. But this was my major turning point where I overcame a car phobia, I met with an accident, and I met my angels and my master. So, yeah, that was my moment and my introduction to the angelic realm. Because until then, I believed angels were good Samaritans, or anybody who's a good human being is an angel. I personally did not know that angels are celestial beings or light beings who are always around us. So this
Hmm.
was my complete flipping point and my deeper connections with angels from this point onwards.